Thank you. It's good to be here today. I think what is most important today, really two things, is that number one, we're here because we're committed to a single cause in this case, judicial reform and accountability. But I think just as important is the fact that we can put aside whatever other political differences we might have and rally around one cause, because I think not only will it aid that cause, but then it'll help future discussions. When I'm elected governor in November, I want to open my office to all different parties, not just members of the IP. Representative Severson and I probably differ, well, not probably, we definitely differ on a number of issues, but I think that it's good that we can put aside those differences and come today to talk about this. I figured I wouldn't wear my overcoat as a tribute to President Reagan. Remember him at the Geneva summit when he met Soviet leader Gorbachev? He came down looking very robust. I thought I'd try to mimic that today, but more importantly, I figured it would keep my my speech extra short because I'm going to get cold real quickly. I want to talk to you a little bit about something that is unfortunately very close to me, and I know from firsthand experience, and that's the need for family law reform. I went through a divorce last year, and like many who've undergone the same process, understood or learned to understand firsthand some of the flaws in the system. And I think there is, not only do I think, I know there's a definite need for family law reform here in Minnesota. And it can be done with really, I think, three major changes. The first change is that we need to make joint physical custody the legal presumption. By that I mean shared custody. So it's in the best interest of the children that they share equal time with their mom and their dad. Now there are going to be some instances where maybe that's not appropriate, maybe it's not possible, but those problems and challenges will come to light very quickly. Too often I think the kids are used as pawns in this legal chess game, and the lawyers instigate this contentious relationship between the couple going through a divorce, and the kids are often left on the side, at least from a mental standpoint, and forgotten or used unfairly. And I think if we start by changing our state law, like other states have already before us, and make sure that shared physical custody is the legal presumption, we'll be off to a great start. I think there also needs to be a better job in educating the couples that are about to go through or in the process of going through a divorce. Educate them on the dark realities. Right now, all counties in Minnesota require that couples going through a divorce, couples with children, take parenting classes. And that's all fine and good. But you can take them anytime during the course of the divorce. In fact, I took one of mine within 2 weeks of our divorce being finalized. And they didn't, to be fair, really educate the people going through those courses on the dark realities. I think it should be required that these courses, at least a portion of them, be moved up, and require that the couples who are going through a divorce take them before the papers are even filed or within a month after they are filed. Unfortunately, I know from firsthand experience some of the anger that can occur during a divorce. Last year, my ex and I got into a bit of a verbal row, and unfortunately it escalated to something a little more. The police did not have to come and break it up. There were no injuries, no need for medical attention, and no charges were filed. But my ex and her attorney did seek and get from the court an order for protection against me. I was wrong with my behavior, and I made sure that immediately after that, I voluntarily enrolled in a program at the Domestic Abuse Project in Minneapolis. And what I learned there are things that I could have learned earlier and would better have served me and so many others like me going through the process at the time where anger really takes over. Now, as I said, I was wrong in my behavior, but I was also right in learning from that and making sure I learned from it. And because of that, when I'm governor, I want to make sure that others have learned from my experience and make sure that they go through this, some sort of process of education where they know how to spot hot buttons, how to avoid antagonistic situations, and remember that this is a couple that once was in love and they need to work through it for their children. In fact, my advisors said I shouldn't talk about that, but I believe it's such an important issue, not because of the way it affects me, though I think my candidacy needs to be transparent, but more for the people who come after me through this process of divorce. That's for whom it's really important. And finally, I think we can make a change in our family law system that speeds up the process. Too often, there's too much of a gap between the ICMC hearing, between the next hearing, between this court appointed this or this court appointed that. I know the courts are backed up, but in reality, many of these cases take way longer than they should. And the only thing that comes of that are attorneys make more money, and there's more anger and bitterness between the divorced couple, which reminds me of a joke real quickly. Not that this is any joking matter, but we do need to have some levity from time to time. A friend of mine told me this the other day. He said, "Why don't cannibals eat divorced men? Too bitter." All right. Thank you. I'm here all week, twice on Fridays. Now, in all seriousness, we are here rallied around one major cause, the need for judicial reform and accountability. And when I am governor, I have made this one of my priorities, not top priority to be fair, but one of my priorities, and I go back to when I announced in January, and you can see that I have a track record of making family law reform a major agenda item when I take office. Thank you for taking time to listen.